Hey, this is Rick Kasalich, injury specialist from exercisesforinjuries.com. In today's video, what I wanted to go through are the best wrist pain relief exercises. And Jenna's going to go through them and she'll show you the first one of the 5 exercises. Okay, so the first one is seated wrist rotations, and how this one breaks down is you're having a seat. What you're sitting on doesn't really matter. You're going to bring the arms out front so they're touch below shoulder height, wrists are straight, and then you're going to go through rotations or circles. And you're going to go one direction 5 times, and then you're going to go the other direction 5 times. So clockwise and counterclockwise. Perfect. Now, looking at specifically the sets, reps, time, and intensity, for this one, sets will be 1, repetitions will be 5, like I said, 5 clockwise, 5 counterclockwise. Intensity is light. This is more of a mobility, movement, dynamic stretching exercise. Sets, reps, time, intensity will be light. And then the purpose of this exercise is to really kind of loosen up the wrist, loosen up the wrist and dynamically stretch the muscles around the wrist and loosen up the muscles around the wrist. Okay, now moving on to the second exercise. Good. So with this one, it's a seated wrist extension. So how this one breaks down, you're sitting down. What you sit on doesn't matter as long as it's a good stable surface. You're going to, with this one, we're going to stay bent at the elbow, and then we're going to bring the wrist back. We're going to go a little bit further with the hand. We're going to hold for about 5 seconds, and then we're going to relax. And then you would go to the other side. So you go to the other arm. Good, elbows bent, bring the wrist back a little bit further with a hand, and then you're looking for a light stretch through the back part of the wrist. Now looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity, sets are 1, repetitions would be 5, time would be 5 seconds, the intensity would be light, because the purpose of this one is a static stretch. So it's you're lightly stretching the back of the arm with this exercise. So the first one was like a mobility dynamic stretch. Now with this one, the other one is more of a static stretch to loosen up more of the muscle in that forearm. Okay, so we've gone through 2 exercises. Moving on to the third exercise. There you go. So it's wrist flexion, seated wrist flexion. And how this one breaks down is you got the elbow close to the body, wrists in neutral, and then you're going to bring the wrist down and then a little bit further with the hand, and you're looking for a light stretch in that forearm area. I'm going to hold that for 5 seconds, and then you're going to switch sides. Perfect. So looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity, sets are 1, repetitions are 5, time is 5 seconds, intensity is light. We're looking for light stretch in the forearm, and the purpose of this is to stretch the opposite side of the forearm. So it's to statically stretch it. So the first exercise, we did mobility, dynamic stretch, and then the next 2 were static stretches targeting different parts of the forearm. Okay, so we've gone 3 down, moving on to the 4th one. Okay, now with this one, this is self-massage of the wrist. So what you're doing is you're having a seat, elbows bent, your one arm is straight with the wrist in neutral, then you're going to bring the other arm, and you're going to take your thumb and press it into the wrist, into the muscles in the wrist, and really targeting that wrist joint, and working back and forth, up and down when it comes to the muscles and tendons in that wrist. And you're going to do a couple repetitions on one side. So roughly, 10 seconds, and then you'd move over to the other side. Elbows bent, elbows up against the body, wrist is neutral, bringing the opposite hand over, and then bringing the thumb into things. And we're trying to focus mainly in that wrist area. So forward and back and working along that wrist joint. So looking at the sets, reps, time, and intensity, for this one, sets would be 1, repetitions would be more like 10 seconds on each wrist, focusing on the front part of the wrist. Sets, reps, time. So looking at the intensity would be light to moderate. What we're trying to do is loosen up that wrist, loosen up the tendons and the muscles in the wrist so we have good movement, and it helps when it comes to recovery, when it comes to wrist pain, and that is kind of the purpose of this exercise. So we've gone through 4, now moving on to the 5th and final one. Okay, so with this one, roll out with the ball. So I've got a ball. We can use like a tennis ball. This is a lacrosse ball. We can use a golf ball, a softball, baseball. And what you're doing is you're bending at the elbow, palms up. Other hand, you have the ball and you're pressing it into the forearm and rolling up through the belly of the forearm. So the one before, we focused more in the wrist. Now we're working more through the belly of that forearm. So we go for about 10 seconds on one arm, then we would go to the other side, elbow up against the body, rolling through that belly. Good. Perfect. So looking with this one specifically, sets, reps, time, and intensity. Sets would be 1. Repetitions would be 1 as well. Time would be 10 seconds, so 10 seconds on one arm, 10 seconds on the other arm. The intensity light to moderate. We're looking at self-massaging, especially the belly of the forearm, as opposed to the exercise before where we targeted the wrist. Now with this one, the purpose of it is to loosen up the muscles in the forearm to help decrease the stress on the wrist and help when it relates to overcoming wrist pain. So there you go. If you have wrist pain and you're looking for some exercise to help you relieve that wrist pain, give the 5 exercises a go that we just went through. Now, if you're looking for some of my other best tips and tricks when it relates to overcoming wrist pain, what I recommend you is go down into the description and click the wrist pain playlist in there. And you'll see some of the other videos I have when it relates to wrist pain. Now, if you got benefit from this video, make sure to like this video. If you have a question or comment for me, leave it down below in the comment section. And lastly, hit subscribe to get future pain relieving videos.